Commander, Intel has suggested the YouTube shadow banning units train, military train has been spotted at the railway station. The railway station at the like button. Take it out, Commander, and we will defeat them before they can even reach the front line. Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 183 for the 25th of August. Took me some time to put in all these explosions and bombardments. So could have done this much earlier, but no. Let's start off with so if you before I start, if you haven't, I just now did a live stream, the DPA response. If you interested to see what's my response to some of your comments in the YouTube videos, the comments that you put in the comments below, you can actually check it out. And it's a bit different. I talk a lot of stuff beyond what we cover, and some of my opinions. So I think it's interesting, especially for those that are like very bored, you just want to play a radio at the side, listen to my beautiful voice. You can do that. So moving to the southern front, so we do not have any missile strike of significance to talk about, and there's no crazy statements beyond what I'm going to cover later. So at the southern front, Mykolaiv front, we have Ukrainian bombardment at Kherson as well as at Novomykhailivka. So, and also at the Antonovsky Bridge, they are trying to hit the bridge. So not very significant, just to make you happy, the pro-Ukrainian crowd, because I want more of you guys to be watching this this YouTube channel. And otherwise, we don't really have any offensive to talk about. I think this one is great already. So otherwise, no, there is nothing much. The lack of bombardments is because the Ukrainian, I can show you simply what the Ukrainian Defense Ministry wrote. They wrote, Russians carry out shelling of infrastructure in Mykolaiv, Alexandrivka districts and 20 other settlements. So they can't even bother to list out what are the settlements because there's too many of them. So yeah, so which is why we don't have the data to actually put in all the bombardments. I have some coming from pro-Russian sources, which is also nothing very significant, to be honest. So the Avdiivka front also nothing much is happening, except that there is a report of shelling here at Avdiivka by the Ministry of Defense of Russia, and which also means that this possible capture of Avdiivka is invalidated. So I will delete it. So it's invalidated. There is no capture of Avdiivka because of this reported shelling from the Ministry of Defense of Russia. So I could push back the front line to reflect that Avdiivka is under Ukrainian control. So otherwise that's that. So moving to the Kharkiv front, still no mention about the Visokopilya. So nothing here on the Kharkiv front. So relatively quiet in the sense of a macro sense, but bombardments is actually across 23 over settlements. Moving on to the Zaporizhzhia region. So as per usual, as per these few days, the main focus is on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and you can already see that there is some Russian counter artillery or artillery operating, and you can see that the Ukrainians shelled the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant again. So according to the Ministry of Defense of Russia, the The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant has been shelled twice in the last 24 hours by large caliber artillery guns. So as a result, 4 munitions exploded near oxygen and nitrogen station. And there's also another one in the area of a special building number 1. So I'm not so sure what's so special about that building, but it is special building number 1. And the Ukrainian artillery position on the territory, in which the territory of the nuclear power plant was shelled, was detected west of Maganets in Dnipro region, and a direct hit of a Russian high-precision guided munition destroyed US-made M777 hot whistles in this combat position. So this is the where I plotted it, west of Maganets. So somewhere, probably somewhere around here, I'm supposing. So and there's also actually shelling reported at Nikopol. There's another one called Veliki Mikhailovka, which I have no idea where is it, cannot find it, by the Ryba. So Zelensky's statement on the nuclear power plant shelling, he said, so I just simply read what he say. You can feel whatever one you want to feel. I have my own opinion. So today, for the first time in history, I should talk like him. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plants stop. The emergency protection power unit worked after the last working line for the return of power to the power system of Ukraine was damaged, and as a result, the Russian selling. That's poor imitation. So anyway, diesel generators immediately work to give energy to the station itself to support it after stopping. The world must understand what a threat this is. If diesel generator did not turn on, if the automation and the station staff did not work after blackout, then we would already be forced to pay extra for the consequences of radiation accident. Just for reminders, these people that is working there is now under Russian payroll and Russian control. They are not answerable to the Ukrainians. So yeah, he make it sound like as if they are still working for the Ukrainians and the Ukrainians have control over Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. So Russia has put Ukraine and all Europeans one step away from radiation disaster, and they do their best to continue to shell it into an emergency scenario. And it depends not only on Ukraine, but IAEA and international organization must act much faster than they do now. Every minute the Ukrainians shell the nuclear power plant is a risk to the global radiation disaster. I just reported fake news. This is not what he said, but technically that should be what everyone should be saying. So according to the Energoatom, which is the Ukrainian nuclear company, they say that all 6 units of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant remain disconnected to the Ukrainian energy system, which means that there is no longer Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant no longer provides electricity to the Ukrainian side. So according to Intel Slava, they posted that the Ukrainian shelling actually destroyed the power lines that was connecting them to the Ukrainian energy power grid. So the Volodymyr Rogov, which is the member of the administration of the Zaporizhzhia region, commented on the statement of the Energoatom. So according to him, the Ukrainian armed forces destroyed 3 of the 4 power lines going towards Ukraine with the shelling. So he criticized that Zelenskyy is actually cutting the country off of energy themselves. And this is kind of awkward because Ukraine actually promised that they can provide energy to Europe. They wanted to they want to sell energy, nuclear energy. They want to sell electricity to Europe in a way to earn money to pay for their tax shortfall or as a kind of economy. And now they lost this Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is essentially free power, because the ones that is running the nuclear power plant is the Russians, and they still continue to get electricity, and I'm quite sure they're not going to pay the Russians, not even the staff that is working there. So they basically destroyed free electricity coming from the Russian side. So no fucking idea what the hell is happening. So so that is all information I delete away. So I'm not sure what's the situation for the rest of Zaporizhzhia, if the electricity is fully recovered yet. I haven't seen anything about it. I also didn't really go and dig about it. Maybe I will dig about it tomorrow. So we are now into the Zaporizhzhia line. At the Zaporizhzhia line, let me see. There is shelling across the entire line, as you can see. A lot is around the Velika Novosilka area and the Huyaipo area. And as well as Orhiv, basically is everywhere except for Kayamsky. They are trying to not shell around Kayamsky region because it's very close to Zaporizhzhia. They don't want to be accused of maybe they don't want to be accused of raising tensions around this area. But the Russian did shell Kayamsky around a few days ago. So the shelling is across the rest of the front line, as you can see, and nothing much to report except that remember I have this very weird bulge coming out yesterday. Kate Malaye from the DPA's Telegram chat group actually pinged me and let me know that the Balakliya that I was looking for is actually here. So I actually corrected the location to here. So it's actually not somewhere further south that makes no freaking sense, that caused me to have to create one really weird bulge coming out. I actually lost where the hell that place is. So Balakliya is here, and with the help of this, because of this, I actually saw Komi Shubakha as well. So as a result, previously I thought Komi Shubakha is here, so I actually move it here because this makes more sense. This is more nearer to the front line. So shelling bombardments, shelling reports to be reported here makes more sense. So however, these positions are not shelled in the latest report. Only Shevchenko was hit, Novosilka is hit, Novopil is hit, Vremivka, Velika Novosilka, basically everywhere except for the places that was hit yesterday. So the Russians are still very, very angry. They're shelling everywhere. So yeah, so that's all from the Zaporizhzhia line. So basically in all reports that would essentially means nothing had happened. So yeah, but the shelling just add some taste to this map. Feel a bit salty or a bit sweet. Really depends on your viewpoint. Maybe it feels a bit sour. You can feel a bit bitter about it as well. It's not exactly disgusting. Yeah. So I still have not. So we are now in the Donetsk Front. So in case you are lost, Southern Front, Mykolaiv, Khyry, Kherson region, Zaporizhzhia. So now we are in Donetsk. So for those that are not very familiar with the geography, this I still have no idea. Where is this Tetyanivka bulge, this middle finger coming out from? It's still a middle finger. I have no updates on this middle finger though, and we still have shellings in certain areas along the along this Vuhledar line, and there is a Ukrainian offensive, or counter offensive. Ukrainians do not do offensive; they only do counter offensive because offensive is offending, and they are not offensive people. They have to do offending things. They have to do counter offending things. So is a counter-offensive at the region around Vuhledar. So, however, according to the pro-Russian source Raiba, this is not very successful. But so there is fighting in this area, and coincidentally, there is also a shelling report on Vuhledar area, which means that it might be this shelling might be on this troops, these Ukrainian troops that were trying to launch an attack against the Russian positions, and they were met by artillery fire. That might be something that could have happened. Otherwise, there is no more ground offensive around this area. So there is a rumor from the Ministry of Defense of Russia, saying that due to heavy losses, there are Ukrainian troops withdrawing away from Novomykhailivka. So the other location is actually Dibrovne, I think. Yeah, so I have indicated on the other side. I think so, I hope. Yeah, so there is some retreat happening over at Novomykhailivka region. This is actually the second time Ukrainian retreat has been reported over at Novomykhailivka. So looks like Novomykhailivka might be, designated kill zone for Russian artillery, causing, tremendous casualties in Ukrainian servicemen that's trying to hold that position. So that might be a situation. At Marinka, we have no news. There's no updates in this area. This is also outdated. So there's no fighting reported over here. There's the last report we have of fighting is towards Pervomaisky from Pisky, and this information remains the same. We do not have new information. This information is outdated. I forgot. So what happened is that I forgot to grade out all these fighting things. So I'll do this on the fly. It's okay. And there is bombardment on Opaine. However, there is no fighting reported here. And this is 22nd. I think it's a bit old already. This information I will delete. There's however fighting reported in Avdiivka. So, but it's a bit vague because the Ukrainians. So this is from the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. They say that the enemy does not stop trying to conduct offensive assault operations. So they try to continue to their efforts on the Avdiivka area, which is Avdiivka area, but it's very vague. So that's all. So I just indicate it. So these bombardments, if you're interested, go to the map and you can look at yourself. It's quite boring. It's not significant. It's boring. There is however a Ukrainian shelling reported at Novobakhmutivka. Then this is not the same one as the one at it's not the same one as this one. Novobakhmutivka. Sorry. Where is it? I'm lost. Never mind, forget it. Yeah, there's this one, but this is Russian control. I believe that this is actually near Novobakhmutivka rather than at Bakhmutivka. So I actually put it on the side because it wouldn't make sense. Then nothing much had happened other than artillery shelling around the Holivka region. And then we are into the Bakhmut front. At the Bakhmut front, yesterday we have reported the fighting was towards Kodema in the Travneve direction. And today we have report of fighting near Kodema, according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry. And there and that's it. There's nothing though. There's not much details about this fighting. So the fighting, as I said, is great. This is 24th. So this is 25. So 25 is still relevant. And on around Bakhmut, there is fighting reported near Bakhmut. It's actually reported by the pro-Russian source Ryba, where the Ukrainians actually launched a counter-offensive near Bakhmut. So this is a different offensive from the one that is already in Bakhmut region, but this is actually the one near. I believe it's the one that is southern on the southeastern area, because that is where the Russians was pushing previously, from the Kharkiv direction, moving up towards Bakhmut in the northwestern direction. According to the pro-Russian source Ryba, they say the same thing as what the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense like to say: suffered losses and retreated. So this counteroffensive probably did not work out very well. And there is also fighting reported at Bakhmut. So according to the Ryba, pro-Russian source Ryba, they mentioned that the Wagner private military contractors are fighting in the urban area, but the whole city is urban, so it's nonsensical. Basically they are fighting at the city. So but they did mention eastern part, so at least we know that they are in the eastern part, which is we already know. So a little bit But maybe if you're new to this information, then you'll find it very interesting that they are fighting on the east and not on the west. So moving to the Soledar area, there is fighting reported at Bakhmut. This is great. This information I remember, or did I forget to update this information? No, this is the old information. So yes, it's correct. It's grayed out. There is bombardment reported at Bakhmut, and fighting continues at Soledar. So this is actually the corrected one. And Soledar, according to the Russian source Ryba, the 6th Cossack Regiment of the Luhansk People's Republic is the one fighting in this area. And they are fighting at the Balakliya refractory plant, which is actually this area here, and at the Zelenskyy Street. So I have no idea where Zelenskyy Street. I didn't really map it in this way. So anyway, just know that they are fighting at Soledar. The fighting is going to be very, very slow, in case you are not aware of that, because there is a mining of pressure mines, petals, by the Ukrainians. So they scattered all these plastic mines where it's really hard to see because they are green in color. They are like a toy, and it's very easy to step on them and damage or maim you. So these mines were scattered around Soledar. So it makes the offensive for the Russians very difficult. And but mines are a double-edged sword. If they drop the mines there, the Ukrainians will not be able to do a counter-offensive easily as well, because the mines would also kill your own soldiers. So the Ukrainians will not be able to do a counter-offensive. So the actual fact that they actually throw mines means that they actually have no confidence in counter-attacking against the Russian forces and retaking the parts where the Russians have already captured. So that means the aim in Soledar is just to delay the Russians for as long as they can. Nothing at Yakovlivka. Vuhledar continues to be bombarded, and in the Siversk Front there is no active fighting. However, all the locations around the Russians' position around Vuhledar is bombarded. There is a possibility that Vuhledar is actually captured by the Russian forces, because previously the Russians have already captured 50% of this town. The small little brother here continues to be erected over here, but they cannot do anything about it. So they can only bombard everything's around them. Just spray it everywhere. No. Over in the Izyum Front. At the Izyum Front, there's fighting at the Vuhledar is no longer happening. However, we do have a bombardment report by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on Tetyanivka, because I have already suspected that Tetyanivka is under Ukrainian control for a very, very long time. So I'm just waiting for a report from the Russians or the Ukrainian side to suggest that. So with this shelling report, I actually awarded the Tetyanivka to the Ukrainian side, because it only makes sense, because the Ukrainians are holding the entire southern side of the Siversk Donetsk River, or southern or western side of Siversk Donetsk River. So it's just a matter of time that I actually put Tetyanivka under Ukrainian control. I'm just waiting for the right information to come by to confirm this information. Otherwise, previously we've reported the Russians have captured this. However, the lack of a proper crossing that they can use reliably made it impossible for them to defend this area here. However, Zaporizhzhia is still under Russian control, but the beautiful monasteries are still under Ukrainian control. So even though they went there to take photos, they cannot hold that position. The entire area here is under Ukrainian control now. The consistent reports of fighting and shelling by the Ukrainian side on the Vuhledar basically it validates this 16th of August a report that the 3rd Motorized Rifle Division of the Russian forces have captured village of Vuhledar. Is this information is invalidated, is not correct. So I will delete this, and I'll actually push back the border for the Russian side, the front line, to reflect this reality that Vuhledar is still under Ukrainian control. So let's move this here a bit. So there is fighting reported at Dolina yesterday from the direction of Paksik or Pasika here. So it's basically from this direction down. However, there is no success. Bombardments returns to Mazanivka region, the forested area here. This is Mazanivka, but this is already flattened. This is a very, very small village. The fighting is mainly in the forested area. Yeah, and this is the retreat, the partial retreat that is reported at Dibrovne. The fighting here is no longer repeated. There's no more ground offensive around this region. However, the Ukrainians claim another location. They now claim Dmitrivka because of the reported shelling in this region here. So, so a lot of this, very liberal concept of the location of where the Ukrainians are getting shelled. So we just reflect it on the map, but eventually, we'll get the truth. So moving on to the Balakliya Front, Russian shellings returned to this location. Husarivka and Mospanove has been shelled by the Russian forces. Otherwise, no ground offensive. Over at Nosivka also was shelled nearby in the north of the Izyum forest. We are now in the Kharkiv Front. And the Kharkiv Front used to be called the Happy Front. It's not really a happy place. You can see the number of shellings all over the place. However, there is no new information. The fighting at Bostrova is now outdated. I will delete it. There is no active fighting in this region as well. All we see is shelling across the entire front line. And so it begs the question, when will Russia use up all their ammunition? Will they ever use up their ammunition? Like, what they should have done in March. In March, the Russians are reportedly going to run out of ammunition. And now we are in freaking August, coming to September, and they are still shelling the entire front line. So this is the summary for the day of 183, 25th of August, and that's all. And do check out the DPA response. For those that do not know, I'm planning to do this live sessions DPA response to the comments, and also to talk to you guys on a weekly basis. So I will try to do that, and also trying to organize the open mic for the DPA Army Officers, and hopefully there is response and people want to participate, and then I can actually do it. And if not, then I will probably engage with the Discord members. I'll see how it goes. And so that's all from the summary, and I will see you in the next update.